Hello children, today we are going to discuss chapter 3 Force from the book Selina Concise Physics class 6. Now let's get started with the summary and the back exercise of the chapter. Force. What is force? A body not changing position with time with respect to a nearby fixed object is said to be at rest. A body changing position with time with respect to a nearby fixed object is said to be in motion. So, what is force? Force is a push or pull which can change the state of rest or motion of the body or can change the size and shape of the body. That is, it can deform a body. A force applied on a body can A. Move it, it is not in motion, stop it if it is moving, C. Increase or decrease its speed, D. Change its direction of motion, E. Change its shape or size if it is not free to move. Force is defined as that cause which changes the state of rest or the state of motion of a body and can also deform it. A force has both the magnitude and the direction. When two forces act in opposite directions, the net force is equal to the difference of these forces in the direction of the bigger force. When two forces act on a body which are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, the net force on the body is 0. Forces are of two types. Number 1, contact forces, and number 2, non-contact forces or forces at a distance. Contact forces are 1. The muscular force applied as push or pull, 2. Force of friction, 3. The force of reaction normal to the surface, and 4. The force of tension in a string pulled by a load. Non-contact forces are 1. Gravitational force, 2. Electrostatic force, and 3. Magnetic force. The weight of a body is the force with which the earth pulls the body. This is important, children. The unit of weight or force is kgf, not kg, which is unit of mass. So the unit of force is kgf. Friction is a force that opposes the motion. Friction always acts in a direction opposite to the direction of motion. The cause of friction is the interlocking of the irregular projections on the two surfaces in contact. The force of friction depends on A. the smoothness or roughness of the surfaces in contact, and B. the weight of the sliding or rolling body. The force of friction does not depend on the area of the surfaces in contact. The disadvantages of friction are A. Friction opposes the motion, B. Friction produces heat, C. Friction causes wear and tear, D. Friction reduces efficiency. Friction can be reduced by A. Making the surfaces smooth, B. The use of lubricants, C. The use of ball bearings, D. Streamlining the shape of the moving body. The maximum force exerted by a surface on a body so long as it remains stationary is called the force of static friction. The minimum force required to keep the body moving over a surface such that it moves equal distances in equal intervals of time is called the force of sliding friction. The minimum force required to roll a body on a surface is called the force of rolling friction. Rolling friction is less than the sliding friction, and sliding friction is less than the static friction. Friction is advantageous to us in almost all activities of our life. Now let's do the back exercises. Let's test ourselves. A. Objective questions. Number 1. Write true or false for each statement. A. The frictional force acts in the direction of motion of body. Answer is false. It acts in the opposite direction. B. The unit of weight is kilogram. Answer is false. C. A force can change the direction of motion of a moving body. Answer is true. D. A force increases the mass of the body when applied on it. Answer is false. E. The force of friction is always disadvantageous. Answer is false. F. The sliding friction is more than the rolling friction. Answer is true. Moving further to G. Liquids offer more friction than the gases. Answer is true. H. A wet oily road offers more friction than a dry rough road. Answer is false. 2. Fill in the blanks. A. Forces applied as push or pull. B. On squeezing a gum tube, its shape changes. C. On pulling a string, its length increases. D. A moving football when kicked, its direction of motion changes. E. On applying brakes on a moving car, its speed slows down. F. We use ball bearings to reduce the friction. G. Friction opposes the motion. H. Lubricants are used to reduce friction. I. Friction causes wear and tear of moving parts of machine. Now let's do the matching. Number 3, match the following columns. The question is written and I'll tell you the answer. A. Non-contact force. Answer is gravitational force. B. Like poles. Answer is repel. C. Contact force. Answer is force of friction. D. Mass. Answer is kg. Weight. Answer is kgf. Friction. Answer is wear and tear. Now let's move to question number 4. Select the correct alternative. A. A body falls downwards because of. Answer is 2. Gravitational force. B. A force does not change. Answer is number 1. Mass. C. A force to be expressed correctly requires. Answer is 3. Both the magnitude and direction. D. Friction. Answer is 2. Opposes motion. E. Friction is reduced by. Answer is 1. Making the surfaces wet. F. Friction. Answer is 4. Has all the above disadvantages. That is number 1. Causes wear and tear. Friction produces heat. Friction stops a moving body. So answer is has all the above disadvantages. G. Friction is increased if. And the answer is 3. The surfaces are made dry. Let's move to B. Short, long answer questions. Question 1. Name the term used for the push or pull. Answer is force. Question 2. Give one example each of a force as 1. A push, 2. As pull, 3. A stretch, and 4. A squeeze. Answer 1. A push. 2. Open a door, we push it. 2. As pull. To move a grass roller on a lawn, it is pulled by the gardener. 3. A stretch, stretching a rubber string. 4. A squeezed, change in shape of a sponge on squeezing. Question 3. Explain the meaning of the term force. Answer. Force. Force is a physical cause that changes or may tend to change the state of rest or the state of motion of an object. The SI unit of force is Newton. Question 4. What effect can a force have on a stationary body? Answer. When a force is applied on a stationary body, it begins to move. Question number 5. What effects can a force have on a moving body? Answer. When a force is applied on a moving body, it can be made to stop or it can change the direction of motion. Moving further to question number 6. What effect can a force produce on a body which is not allowed to move? Answer is, when a force is applied on a body which is not free to move, it gets deformed. That is, the shape or size of the body changes. Question number 7. Give one example each to indicate that the application of a force 1. Produces motion, 2. Stops motion, 3. Slows down motion, 4. Changes the direction of motion, 5. Deforms the body. Answer 1. Produces motion. A car originally at rest when pushed begins to move. 2. Stops motion. Answer 2. A moving bicycle is stopped by applying the brakes. 3. Slows down motion. Answer is 3. The speed of a moving vehicle is slowed down by applying the brakes. 4. Changes the direction of motion. Answer 4. A player kicks a moving football to change its direction of motion. 5. Deforms the body. Answer is 5. On stretching a rubber string, its length increases. Question 8. State the effect produced by a force in the following cases. A. The sling of a rubber catapult is stretched? Answer A. The shape and size of catapult changes, that is, its length increases. Question B. A man pushes a heavy cart. Answer B. The heavy cart begins to move. Question C. A player uses its stick to deflect the ball. Answer number C. The direction of the ball changes. D. A cyclist applies brakes. Answer D. The speed of the moving cycle is slowed down. E. A spring is compressed. E. The shape. There is change in size and shape of spring. Question number 9. Name the two kinds of forces in nature. Answer. The two kinds of forces in nature are number 1. Contact forces. Number 2. Non-contact forces. Question 10. Name the type of forces which acts in the following cases. Answer A. A coolie lifts a luggage. Answer is muscular force. B. A bicycle comes to rest slowly when the cyclist stops pedaling. Answer is frictional force. C. A stone falls from a roof. Answer is gravitational force. D. A comb rubbed with silk attracts the bits of paper. Answer is electrostatic force. E. A string hangs with a load. Answer is force of tension. F. A horse moves a cart. Answer is muscular force. G. A magnet attracts an iron pin. Answer is magnetic force. H. A boy opens the door. Answer is muscular force. I. An apple falls from a tree. Answer is gravitational force. J. A man rows a boat. Answer is muscular force. Question 11. What do you mean by the gravitational force? Give an example to illustrate it. Answer. The force of attraction on a body by earth is called gravitational force. Example. The leaves and fruits fall from a tree downwards towards the ground. Water in a river flows down streams. A ball thrown up goes to a height and then returns back on ground are some examples of motion due to gravitational force. Question number 12. Define the term weight of a body. Answer. Weight. The weight of the body is the force with which the earth attracts it towards the center. It depends on acceleration due to gravity. Question 13. What do you understand by the term friction? Answer. Friction. Friction is that force which opposes the relative motion between the two surfaces that are in contact with each other. Question 14. Give an example to illustrate the existence of force of friction. Answer. If we stop pedaling our bicycle, it gradually slows down and ultimately it stops after traveling a certain distance. This is due to frictional force between bicycle and ground. Question 15. What is the cause of friction? Answer. The cause of friction is the interlocking of the irregular projections on the two surfaces in contact. Question 16. State two factors which directly affect the force of friction. Answer. Two factors which directly affect the force of friction are 1. The smoothness of the surface. 2. The presence of solid, liquid or gas around the moving body. Question 17. In which case will there be more friction between the truck and the road? When the truck is empty or when it is loaded? Answer. When the truck is loaded, there will be more friction between the truck and the road. Question 18. Which offers more friction on a body? A glass surface or a wooden surface? Answer. Wooden surface offers more friction on a body. Question 19. Name the three kinds of friction. Answer. Friction is of three kinds. 1. Static friction. 2. Sliding friction. 3. Rolling friction. Question 20. List three disadvantages of friction. Answer. Disadvantages of friction are: 1. Friction produces heat which damages the moving parts of a machine. 2. Friction produces wear and tear on the contacting surfaces. This reduces the life of machine parts, tires and shoe soles. 3. A lot of energy is wasted due to friction to overcome it before moving. Question 21. When you apply the brakes, the bicycle stops and the rim of the wheel becomes hot. Explain the reason. Answer. It is due to friction between the brakes and the rim of the wheel that it becomes hot. Question 22. The eraser gets smaller and smaller as you use it more and more. Explain the reason. Answer. The eraser gets smaller and smaller as we use it more and more due to frictional force causing wear and tear of the eraser. Question 23. List 3 ways of reducing friction. Answer. Ways to reduce friction. Number 1. Providing ball bearings or wheels between the moving parts of machine or vehicles reduce friction and allow smooth movement as rolling friction is less than sliding friction. 2. Oiling or lubricating with graphite or grease the moving parts of a machine reduces friction. Fine powder like talcum powder also works as a lubricant to reduce friction. 3. Polishing the rough surface reduces friction offered by it. 4. Streamlining, giving special shape to experience minimum drag. The bodies of aeroplanes, cars, boats and ships help reduce drag, fluid friction while traveling through air or water. Question 24. It is difficult to open an ink pot with greasy or oily hands. Explain. Answer. When the hands are oily, then the oil acts as lubricant and reduces the friction. As the friction force is less, it is difficult to get grip of the ink pot and it becomes difficult to open it. Question 25. It is difficult to walk on a wet road. Explain. Answer. When the road becomes wet after rain, friction is reduced and hence the road becomes slippery. Now, moving further to the next question. Question 26. Give 3 examples to illustrate that friction is a necessary evil. Answer. This question is very important. Children, mark it, learn it and write it. The examples to illustrate that friction is a necessary evil are: number 1. If friction were absent, we would not be able to walk. 2. Friction is necessary to burn a matchstick. 3. It is due to friction that we can write on a board by a chalk. Question 27. Define number 1. Static friction, 2. Sliding friction and 3. Rolling friction. Answer. 1. Static friction. Answer. The maximum force exerted by a surface or on a body so long as it remains stationary is called the force of static friction. 2. Sliding friction. The minimum force required to keep the body moving over a surface such that it moves equal distances in equal intervals of time is called the force of sliding friction. 3. Rolling friction. The minimum force required to roll a body on a surface is called the force of rolling friction. Question 28. Arrange the following in descending order. 1. Static friction, 2. Sliding friction and 3. Rolling friction. And the answer is static friction is greater than the sliding friction, which is greater than the rolling friction. Question 29. A body needs a force F just to start motion on a surface, a force F to continue its motion and a force F to roll on the surface. What is number 1? The static friction, number 2 sliding friction and 3 rolling friction. State whether F2 is equal, less than or greater than F1 and 2 F3. Answer. Number 1. F1 is equal to static friction, F2 is equal to sliding friction and F3 is equal to rolling friction. F1, that is static friction, is greater than F2, that is sliding friction, is greater than rolling friction, that is F3. F2 is less than F1 but greater than F3. Now here are some additional questions given to you. Please make a note, children. Please read these questions one by one. Make notes in your notebook or you can even write them. Read your chapter properly, understand the concepts and do go through these questions. These are important questions. Just go through these additional questions, read them, understand them, learn them. practice them, and they are for your reference. And for more videos on the further chapters, do not forget to like, subscribe and share our channel Smart Kids Wonder. Happy learning. Thank you so much, children. And rest, you can go through the video. I'm not going to read the questions, just for your reference. Just go through these questions one by one. Thank you so much.